Welcome to SS2 Literature in English. Today we study the conventions of tragedy and comedy in drama, the two great dramatic genres that have existed since ancient Greece. Most plays can be classified as tragedy, comedy, or some blend of both, tragicomedy. Understanding these conventions helps you analyze dramatic texts more precisely and write stronger WAEC essays on drama. Tragedy originates in ancient Greek theatre, 5th century BC, the plays of Sophocles, Oedipus Rex, Aeschylus, Orestes, and Euripides. The Greek philosopher Aristotle analyzed tragedy in his Poetics and gave us key concepts that remain essential today. Aristotle_'s definition: tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, through pity and fear affecting the proper catharsis of these emotions. Key Aristotelian concepts. 1. Hamartia, or tragic flaw, the hero_'s fatal error, weakness, or character flaw that leads to their downfall. 2. Hubris, excessive pride or arrogance, the most common hamartia in Greek tragedy. 3. Catharsis, the emotional release or purging that the audience experiences at the end of a tragedy, pity and fear worked out. 4. Anagnorisis, the moment of recognition when the hero realizes their error or discovers the truth. 5. Peripeteia, the reversal of fortune, the hero_'s situation suddenly changes from good to bad. Typical features of tragedy. 1. The tragic hero, usually a noble or great person, king, warrior, leader, ordinary enough for the audience to identify with but elevated enough that their fall is significant. 2. The tragic flaw, or hamartia, a weakness or error, pride, jealousy, ambition, indecision, that contributes to downfall. 3. Conflict, between the hero and fate, society, other characters, or within themselves. 4. Reversal, peripeteia, fortune changes from good to bad. 5. Suffering, the hero endures great pain, physical, psychological, or social. 6. The tragic ending, death or profound loss, the ending is never triumphant. 7. Catharsis, the audience experiences pity for the hero and fear that such a fate could befall anyone. Modern tragedy has modified these conventions. Modern tragic heroes may be ordinary people, not kings. Arthur Miller_'s Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman is an ordinary salesman. Wole Soyinka_'s Death and the King_'s Horseman, 1975, as African tragedy. Ellison Alefin is a tragic hero of stature, the King_'s Horseman, responsible for the ritual suicide that accompanies his King_'s death. His hamartia, his love of worldly pleasures, his desire for one last night with the bride, his failure to complete the ritual. The colonial intrusion, the British district officer_'s interference is the external force that intersects with Ellison_'s internal flaw. Catharsis, the audience_'s pity and horror at the collapse of a man_'s honor, and the consequences for his son Holland who takes his place. Soyinka has stated that Death and the King_'s Horseman is not primarily about colonialism. The real tragedy is Ellison_'s personal failure, the inner weakness that allowed the colonial interruption to succeed. Comedy also originates in ancient Greece. The word comes from the Greek komos, a reveling band. In drama, comedy aims to amuse and entertain, expose human folly and social vices through laughter. Typically end happily: marriage, reunion, restoration of order. Features of comedy. 1. Happy ending, marriages, reconciliations, misunderstandings resolved. 2. Mistaken identity, characters confused with one another, disguised women in Shakespeare. 3. Witty dialogue, wordplay, puns, banter. 4. Comic timing, the exact moment a joke lands, physical comedy, slapstick. 5. Satire, exposing and ridiculing social vices, hypocrisy, greed, pretension. 6. The blocking character, a figure who tries to prevent the happy ending, usually overcome. 7. Social critique, Comedy often attacks the powerful from below, exposing hypocrisy. Types of comedy. 1. Romantic comedy. Comedies of love boy meets girl, obstacles, happy union at end, Shakespeare / S. A Midsummer Night / S. Dream. 2. Comedy of manners, satirizes the behavior and affectations of upper-class society. 3. Satire, exposes and mocks social, political, or moral vices with cutting wit, Soyinka / S. The Lion and the Jewel satirizes both tradition and modernity. 4. Farce, exaggerated, improbable situations, slapstick, physical humor, rapid plot twist. 5. Dark comedy / tragicomedy, blends comic and tragic elements, laughter in tragic situations, Samuel Beckett / S. Waiting for Godot. 6. Parody, imitates and mocks another work or genre. Tragedy versus comedy, key distinctions. On-screen. Tragedy comedy. Serious tone, light, playful tone. Heroic or elevated protagonist, ordinary or comic protagonist. Ends in death or profound loss, ends happily, marriage, reunion. Hamasha plus peripetia, mistaken identity plus resolution. Audience, pity and fear, catharsis, audience, amusement, recognition, relief. Conflict, unresolved conflict, resolved happily. Tragicomedy, plays that combine both, Shakespeare / S. The Winter / S. Tale, Soyinka / S. Death and the King / S. Horsemen, tragic ultimately, but with elements of celebration and festivity. Summary of tragedy and comedy conventions. Tragedy, serious, hero / S. downfall through hamasha, catharsis, ends in death or loss. Key terms, hamasha, hubris, catharsis, anagnorisis, peripetia, from Aristotle / S. Poetics. African tragedy, death and the king / S. horsemen, Ellison / S. personal failure, colonial intrusion. Comedy, light, happy ending, mistaken identity, wit, social satire, blocking character. Types, romantic comedy, comedy of manners, satire, farce, tragicomedy. Key distinction, tragedy equals unresolved conflict, death, comedy equals resolved conflict, celebration.